Hi guys, it's Eminem from Let's Go Fishing. Just a little thing to put on YouTube on my account. I was watching something today. I watched two things on YouTube today which I found bloody really interesting. The first one was the young lad Adam goes over fishing. He went over to the Netherlands and he done some fishing, and certain parts of rivers over there, they have got different licenses and different rules for different rivers, which I think is a bit weird, but it works for them. But the thing about it was, they had what you call it, bloke come along and asked them for the licenses and all this, that, and the other, you know, and said like, "Have you got your license? Have you, have you got your right permits and that way to fish?" And the man explained about where you fish and showed them on their app while he was fishing. He said, "This one you need this license, and if you go to the bluer one, you need another license." And there was different rules and regulations on that. And also, they even got visited by police officers on the second part of it. It's a good one to watch. It just explains that they are very protective of their fisheries over there, because they had a keep net in the water, and one of the locals come up to them and says, "You can't have a keep net in the water, even though you're on a canal. We don't like you, no keep nets allowed." And he says, "Yeah, okay." And he tipped the fish back in to the canal. He said, because of the foreigners going over there and taking all the fish out like they do over here. So they're safeguarding all their fisheries. Now, it wouldn't be too bad if our environmental agencies would do the bloody same. But if they get caught taking out fish out of their waters, I think they'll get 2 years imprisonment, and I think it's about a £20,000 fine. Why can't we do it here? Might be a good idea, something to look into. But also, I was watching then, once I finished, I was watching, all I seen was an aeroplane flying out. The picture is of an aeroplane flying over, dropping fish. And I thought, I wonder what that's about. So I just put it onto it. It was about Canada. Now, they have about 4 or 5 different types of salmon that swim up their rivers. And because they've put dams in the rivers and the salmon couldn't get over, this river was virtually dead. There was no sockeye salmon or steelhead salmon or just your normal salmon going up the river. So what did they do? Well, a couple of scientists got together and I got 8,000 salmon. But what they've done, they changed them in a respect that they changed the genes on these 8,000 salmon, so they'll be all the same genes. But what they've done, before they've done that, they knocked half the dams down over there and let the river run natural again. People will say, "Oh, what about the sediment and that?" Well, the river's constantly running, so it's pushing all that sediment out, isn't it? Think about it, pushing all the sediment out, cleaning up the shit off the bottom of the river. So you got a nice clean river to run. Okay? So eventually they put these 8,000 salmon into the river. And I stayed in the river for a year. Now, the cycle of salmon, they will stay in a tributary for a year, and then they will go out to sea and live in the sea for 2 years, fattening up on shrimp, anything they can eat, yeah? And then I come back to the origin of the river. Well, them 8,000 salmon come back, and the river was just like a straight river, nothing nice at all. Just, and all the sides of the river, you know, all the plants, trees and that, the grass and all the other bits of greenery was dead. It was just like rocks. So, of course, them 8,000 salmon come back up the river. They spawned. They dug little holes for themselves so they could lay shoving all the shingle about so they could lay the eggs, you know, make the little nest egg area. Well, them fish grew up. So you could say, oh, I don't know how many. Fish went back into the sea after the year they'd been living in the river. But them 8,000 fish that had spawned, all their nutrients went back into the water. All their carbon and this, that and the other went back into the water, flowing down the river. Well, that's and the people who turned out and said, oh, it's going to bugger up the river and all this. No, it didn't. Nature took its course. And believing that all the nutrients from these 8,000 fish that had spawned have started growth back on the riverbanks, and also trees started to flourish. Because these other salmon that had left the river was out for 2 years, and when they come back, they estimated there was over 1 million salmon come back up the river. And because the river was always like just straight, because after building this bloody dam, made sure it just flushed through and just made everything just flat. They started getting the embankments, they started getting deep holes so where the salmon could rest and spawn. And all the greenery round it, after about 2 years, well, after about 4 or 5 years, started growing. Now, you're going to say, what's the point of me saying this to you? The point is, you don't see no salmon coming up the River Severn anymore. Very rare. You got no salmon coming up the Avon anymore. Very rare. All these other little rivers up in Wales, Scotland, and all around the coast, you don't see them coming up anymore because they are dammed off. Now you're going to say, hang on, we got no dams on the River Severn or the River Avon. Yes, we have. We have on the River Avon and on the River Severn. They're called weirs and locks. Now, you imagine you get all the land when it's been like that at the moment, it's peeing down the rain. So, of course, you got all your little streams, you got your farmland. Where's the water going to go? It's going to erode into the river. And then the river's going to come up. So all the silt's going to go down. And where's it going to stop? Right behind a weir and a lock. But a lock clears it, if you know what I mean, because they open the gates and it pushes it through. And once the other side's open, they open up and all that sediment's going that way. But when you got a bloody, I mean, I'll tell you what, in Stourport, it's got to be about 30, 40 yards across, probably 50. I'll say about 40 yards across. Go down Stourport, say you went on a boat in Stourport, you go down to Stourport and there's a big lock on your left hand side and you got a weir in front of you and you got these big barrels to make sure boats don't go over the weir. Okay? Right. Now I know that weir is holding back hundreds of thousands of tons of silt. If they took one weir out at a time, I'll keep saying this, not all at once, take one weir out, say it takes 6 months to take that weir out. As soon as that one weir started to be taken out, as soon as that one's finished, start on another one to get the flow of the silt going. As soon as you lower, say that's your riverbank, the silt is under the water there, right? There's your water. There's your water level. There's your silt. And underneath my glasses is the bank. As soon as a bit of water, but as soon as we get a bit of rain, yeah, it starts flowing over. So let's get it there again. So here's your silt. Now the bottom of my belly is where the riverbed is. Here. And that's silt on top. You get rid of that silt, it all moves down. So when it floods, it should come to there, not overflowing so much. Now, why don't our environmental agencies think about this? And any salmon that we get up the river, if by any organisation could catch them, get them bred. As soon as the eggs, or what you call it, find certain spots in a river, put the eggs in there, or put the little salmon par in there, let them grow, go back to the river, go back to the sea after 2 years, and then come back. We could start doing the same because it would replenish the riverbanks as well. Makes the riverbanks stronger, believe it or not, because you're getting plants growing, you're getting roots growing, and they will hold. So half of these riverbanks won't go wider and wider and wider and waste away quick. That's our problem. And the government say, oh, this. Why can't all us fishermen get together and lobby the government to start doing something with our rivers? I.e., they're on about millions and millions and millions, well, billions of pounds of when somewhere gets flooded. How much has got to be paid out? How many people have been insured and they're going, oh yeah, and all of a sudden there's a big flood come along and it wipes all their insurance out. I'm on not just about house owners, I'm on about businesses. I mean, I remember the big last flood, big flood, and it was Tewkesbury. Now, I don't know if anybody's been to Tewkesbury. Do you know how far the river is away from the Abbey? A couple of 100 yards. But it was making its way up to the Abbey. Now the Abbey's high up a little, you know, it's a raised Abbey. It's not on a mountain top of thing, but it's the ground level goes up at an angle like that. But that river absolutely nearly wiped it all out. Because you've got the Avon and the Severn there. Because you had the far back over there is the Severn, and then you got the Avon, and then the meet, and it just come up. So, why don't the environment agencies have a think about what I've said? And all you other fishermen who agree with me, please give a shout out, leave a comment. You could turn around and say, Colin, you're talking absolutely rubbish. No, I'm not talking rubbish. Well, to you I may be, but to me I'm not, because if other countries can do it and it works, why can't we try? Or have a go? Because that's my saying when I teach martial arts. If you can't do it, have a go at it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You can put your dams back in place. Okay, that's going to cost money. But in the meantime, it may save billions of pounds of people having their houses flooded and everything else. But that's me. I'm just one of these guys who just think about things that could probably help. If another country can do it and it's worked in that country, why don't our fishing environment agencies go and have a talk to them? Go and see how they've done it. It doesn't hurt to swap ideas, work with each other, so we could have better fishing stock. I mean, we don't replenish our rivers anyway with stock. We don't replenish them with perch, roach, gudgeon, pike, carp, chub, eels. Even the eels now, you don't see many eels in the rivers anymore. Yeah, again. See what I mean? I nowadays put a ban on alva catching. When it comes up the estuary, they put the alva nets out. They've stopped doing that for a while, but we haven't seen any. But I've caught quite a few bootlaces on a river, but not enough. You don't see any big eels in rivers anymore as well, mind you. And I do believe they should put a cull on zander, because they don't eat the fish, they just kill them just for the sake of it. Now, pike will eat a fish because it's hungry. Zander won't, they're just honest. So to you guys who are fishermen, or anybody out there in fishing environmental, or any environmentalists agree with me, give us a shout out, leave a comment. As I said, if you think I'm talking rubbish, please say so. I don't mind. Because you could have people who think, Colin, you're talking rubbish. Other people think, well, that could be a good idea. Well, you got people who are with me, or people who just look at him and won't even put a comment. I would like to put a comment. And if it's the first time watching me, my my fishing is called M&M. MNM, Let's Go Fishing. My name's Colin. And it's free to subscribe if you want. Please leave a comment or thumbs up to leave a like. Okay guys, this is M&M signing off. I am going to try and do, I am going to have a look at me, it's the 18th, is it the 18th? I think it's the 18th today, or the 19th of December. I'm going to try and get one last trip down the coast, believe it or not. Even if it's low tide, I want to go down the coast. I'm itching just to have one more go, just before Christmas. Because I want to see Steve down in the tackle shop. Because what they do is, what Steve does, if you can't get down there in January, he will, if you take a self-addressed envelope, and a stamp of course, and give him the money for next year January, tie book, you give him an envelope with your name and address on, with a stamp, give him the pennies for it, he will send it straight through to you for the start of the new year, which I'm going to do. Because if I can't buy one when I'm down there, I will ask him to send me one. Good idea, guys. Catch you later. And while I'm down here, I might get some bait for next year. You know what you mean next year? Mackerel, crab, squid, black lug. I'm going to try black lug this year because a lot of people, next year, sorry, and a lot more crab next year. Okay, guys, and some blueberries. Catch you later, guys.